If you are among the chosen ones, you will probably have already asked yourself more than once if you are doomed or cursed, or when will the challenges and trials you are constantly facing finally stop. I have asked this myself very, very often, and I think there's a purpose behind all these trials, and I will talk about it later in the video. So stay tuned. Hi there, my name is Moa Monica, and on this channel I'm talking about spiritual awakening for chosen ones, twin flames, and also highly sensitive people. And I thought the best way to approach this difficult subject is to tell you about my own trials, because my life has been one big trial. You could consider it like that. So, firstly, I was not wanted. My parents were very young and they both suffered from trauma through the Second World War, which they experienced when they were children. And so they suffered from a very, very deep trauma and they did not know how to give and receive love. And so I was not wanted, but even though I was not wanted and it seemed there was no place for me, I have two siblings coming after me for which there seemed to be a place. And this was really disturbing and a big challenge for me. So I was not wanted. My father was a drinker, mostly through most of my childhood. And when my mother finally threw him out, she became a single mother of 5 children, and she had to rise up on her own. And this grew to another challenge, of course. I grew up in poverty. And this poverty has shaped my life, or my perception of life and my perception of myself in a very, very deep way. And this poverty is following me throughout my life. And I'm still very poor in comparison to my friends or to other people I know. So, poverty. My love life was a catastrophe. Even though I had some long relationships and they were a good learning ground, I could never really settle in love. And I never experienced the love I was looking for and which I knew existed. And so eagerly, my sex life was a catastrophe. I can't really say. I did not really have a sex life. Even when I was in relationships, I had no sex life. And this was really very, very hard for me. And sex life. And I nearly died once or twice. And I had a lot of chronic health issues which were following me also throughout my life. For example, I had a heavy metal charge for decades, several decades. I have a chronic pain disease, fibromyalgia, and I also suffered for decades from chronic inflammation through viral inflammation. My working life was eagerly a catastrophe. I was very often at unemployment because I did not fit in. And I did not know that my energy level is not constant. My energy level varies a lot. Sometimes I have a lot of energy and sometimes I have no energy. And I very often needed time off, even though I did not understand why it was like this, but it was a source of great shame and guilt because my colleagues didn't seem to need time off. And when I was working and when I was not at home, I worked like mad to compensate the time I was not there. And in this way, I had 4 burnouts during my whole life. And then I got self-employed at one point, but I had struggled a lot, even though I knew I could help the people and I was very successful in my work. I was never successful financially. And this was very, very, very hard. And of course, for a very long time, I did not know it was not my fault. I always thought that I was doing something wrong, and I was working very, very hard to make my self-employment work. Today, now I know it was not my mistake. I didn't do anything wrong. It just had to be like that, even if it's hard to say this. So, I have been at self-employment for a very long time, 12 years around this. And then came COVID, and COVID destroyed my self-employment completely. And after that, I started to bring spirituality into my life. I started a kind of spiritual awakening, but even my spiritual awakening was a super big trial and challenge, because in the beginning, when I started to do meditations, I got a panic attack after every meditation. And in the beginning, I really made a lot of meditations, 2 or 3 hours a day, because I was at unemployment. I had no work. And if you would like to know more about the beginning of my spiritual awakening, then please watch the very first video on this channel, where I'm sharing more about how it all started, or how my situation was when I started the spiritual awakening. So, YouTube itself YouTube itself is such a challenge and a trial, because in the beginning I did not know that the word for what I'm doing, the correct word, is expressive art. and not self-expression. So now I have changed the name of my channel for the third time already. Sorry. And my videos are not seen by many people, and every time I try to make a change, less and less people seem to watch or see my videos. It's quite mysterious. My divine calling itself is also a trial, because it has been presented to me quite some time ago, about a year ago, but so far nearly nobody is interested in it. And this is very, very hard, because I am a spiritual humanitarian. I'm here with my purpose to support you, but if nobody wants to be supported, it's really very, very challenging. And the challenge has been so far not to give it up. So I will tell you what it is. It is expressive art, and it is to bring fun and joy into your life by connecting you with all the parts of you you have neglected, rejected, or simply forgotten. And in the description under this video, you will find a link to a free call. I've made a free expressive art call on the sun for you, because the time is hard now. It might very well be that you are suffering from ascension symptoms or grappling with ascension as such. And so, if you like, you can try out this call. It's free. So, my twin flame path is such a trial, and it's, in a way, it's incredible. It took me a very, very long time to develop faith in this path, because now there's this man I have rarely seen pictures of him, only very few. We had some video calls, not so much. We have never met. He lives at the other end of the world. But I know he's the one for me. And I have to have faith that one day the time will be right for us to meet and to live the unconditional love that we have for each other. Because of this, I know I am in very strong telepathic communication with him, even though at present we are in separation and we do not talk. But I know that the feelings, the very intense feelings and the unconditional love, this is mutual. I know it. And I also receive a lot of support on this way. But nevertheless, it's hard. I have to have faith that one day we can live this really in the 3D reality, or in physical. So ascension itself is also a big challenge. And to me, it seems at the beginning there was a very big movement. Everybody was into ascension, and now I experience it totally differently. But This may also due to the fact that I follow other channels now. And I have left the spiritual community I was in last year. But now there's a really big chaos going on. But it's only the chaos is only the starting point for the clarity and order which is going to happen. And in reality, the big solar event is already happening. But there are only few people who know it. But in the end, it is not really important if people know it or not. I think everything is arranged so meticulously to support humanity on their way to ascension. I'm really stunned by it. So now, these are the trials I have faced in my life and I still have to face. And what is the purpose of these trials? If you are among the chosen ones, you have come from another place in space to help humanity and to help Gaia with their ascension. And you help the ascension by rising your frequency, by removing the dark within you to let the light in. And of course, the deeper the dark, the higher the impact is. But of course, you have to do your shadow work. You have to look at all the things you have avoided to look at your whole life. This is something you simply have to do. You can't circumvent it. I often see I follow a lot of channels for chosen ones, and something I find very astonishing is that how many chosen ones write in the comments, I claim my divine path or something like that. And I think people who write this are not really working on their stuff, simply put it. Okay, so all these trials have a purpose. You have these trials because you are strong. You are so strong that you are able to break generational curses and patterns. Please think of it. But you have to discover your strength. And you discover it through doing the work, through doing the shadow work. And so this is something expressive art can help you with. So I, for myself, I think I found out some of the purpose of some of my trials. For example, I think that the purpose of poverty, my lifelong poverty, is to keep me from falling into certain traps. For example, I'm totally interested in brands. I simply don't care what name my trousers have. and how much they have cost and things like that. I'm totally unimpressed by these kind of things. And I think I should not get too comfortable in my life. Because after all, this poverty has fueled my spiritual growth. This is sure. This poverty has certainly fueled my ascension process as such. Because I never would have, if I didn't have had this poverty, I would not have been motivated to find my spirituality. And even if it was very, very painful to not to not never to settle in love, I think I have been kept, I have been preserved for this divine love connection that is waiting for me on the twin flame path. But I still have to have faith. So, and in a way, the challenges never stop. But if you are doing your shadow work, you're gaining, you're not only discovering your strength, you are also gaining confidence, and you learn how to better handle these challenges. And every challenge, every trial is there to make you stronger. And even if you could very well do without it, it's something which is very beautiful. Now, I would like to know, what are the challenges you have to face? And maybe you have already found out what the purpose of these challenges is for you. It would be very nice. I have set up a free community on my Ko-fi page, and it would be very nice if you would let us know. If you can come there and let us know what these purpose is. And on this page, I have also set up some resources for you to feel better. And you find also the free Expressive art call there. And most of the items are free. So now, would be very pleased if you let us know your challenges. And I wish you a very nice day today, and until next time, bye.